Welcome to the Road Report. Today it's Friday, April 14th. My name is Jill Elizabeth. We're here in the center of New Mexico, catching you up. On today's episode, we'll be covering the Book of Wisdom, the Garden Update, and World War III. I want to start off why we're making this road report. So I left you in the vlog. Today we're doing something that I used to do, only a little bit differently, because I've had some ahas, which we'll be covering throughout the course of this report. But this is really for those of you who actually like what we talk about here, which is a very tiny percentage. My favorite part, actually, of this YouTube process is the creative part, the super creative editing part, and then the interaction that we have in the comments below and the emails you send. So I've been trying to figure out how to do all this stuff, and again, so we're trying the next level of, in a perfect world, I would just do one video at a time, but there's too much conflict in terms of what I want to do in this process for me to do just one vlog and put everything in it, so I want to separate it all out. So we're starting with here. The road report is just a general overview of what's been going on this week, some news, some views, and what we can look forward to. So I want to start with the Book of Wisdom. And this is something I've been thinking about for a very, very long time. I was listening to a podcast on the analog versus digital debate, and how people are shifting back into hard press LPs. They're shifting back into writing by hand and paper. They're shifting back to typewriters. They're shifting back to actual hard copy books in their hands. And, I've talked quite a bit over the last couple of years about too much information. And there's too much information. And so a concept I had come up with a long time ago to support this mobile lifestyle, and the fact that I had to give away all my books, which was very difficult for me to do. I love my books. I have a thing about books. So I came up with this idea of just keeping the pages that you actually want in one place. And part of that came about when I was backpacking through Europe in my early 20s, is you would pull out pages of the book when you finished it because you wanted to lighten the backpack that you were carrying with you. And I thought about that, and most books are written 90% what and 10% how, what to actually do, or how to actually implement the concepts of the book itself. And there's so many books out there, and there's so many videos and podcasts that we are inundated with content, and we consume it in multiple forms for various reasons. I know my eyes get tired, so I don't like to look at printed pages as often as I used to. I like to listen to the audio, so that I can go out and accomplish things at the same time. So I'm a big fan of bringing long form information in through the audio format, short form information through video, and important, relevant, I need to think about it, I need to take action on the printed page. I've been experimenting, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start creating short forms that you can actually print out that support the content in the video. And today I'm going to be just giving you a link over at the blog page at jillelizabeth.net for this week, April 14th. And what I'm going to give you is something that may be more important as we talk about World War III. It's called Dakin's Solution. It's a PDF. It's not something I wrote. I just have the link in the blog page. And what that is homemade antiseptic. It has a 99%, I think maybe a little bit higher, ability to get rid of all germs, people used Dakin's solution that came about when war and things were happening, and they didn't have a disinfectant. So it's a simple formula. It's just Clorox bleach, baking soda, and water. It's how to create it and make it sterile that is the problem. I did this last year with the cows. You can go back and see those videos, but it's something that's very simple. The problem is it's only good for about 48 hours. It's an unstable solution. You can buy the stable version of that at the pet store, called ventamycin, and that is something that will last a year and a half. So that is my first contribution for you to your own book of wisdom of things that might be helpful. If the electricity goes out, there's an emergency, and you need to get the information fast, you don't have access to internet or your computer, or more importantly, as you know, I like to talk about, if we have to hit the road, you have to decide what kind of information to take with you. So the book of wisdom, you can see that picture right here. You can use anything. It's not actually, the book itself isn't something for you to print out. It's just an idea, and all things that might be helpful for you on your journey can be part of that book of wisdom. Second thing, I want to do a little garden update. I have made some aha moments. Insert that here. This is my garden update. Things aren't going exactly as planned. We're having a few problems, few bumps on the road, but the overall gist is I'm running out of dirt, I'm running out of containers, I'm running out of oomph to haul water. So live and learn. It's why it's important to do it before the crisis hits. I'm really not sure what I'm going to do at this point. I've got the big containers over on the other side, and trying to haul that great big bucket of water is a huge issue. So I stopped planting, and only over there did I plant onions and potatoes and shallots. So, and I didn't do it 100% right because I just don't have all the supplies. This is why it's important to do these things before the crisis hits. So I am rethinking the plan, and we'll see what happens next time. So that's what not to do when you're creating a mobile garden, but living, learning. It's really important to do this stuff as you go along, because in the crisis, on the moment that you need it, it's better to have made all your mistakes in the past. Just saying. The other thing I want to add that you'll find over at the blog site, or the blog page and the website, is I'm also starting to upload now to vidme, vid.me, under Jill Elizabeth, and that link is over there just in case YouTube decides to do anything else it wants to do in terms of limiting those of us who like to be creative. And so it's just a backup plan. So if you like it, it's very much in its infant stage. It's still kind of juvenile in a lot of its content, but better to be there in the beginning than trying to break in at the end. The last thing I want to talk about today is this whole thing that's going on out in the world right now, or World War III. And you can call it many things. I posted a video on the Deep State by Kevin Shipp, former CIA, who wrote a book on this. I really suggest you listen to that, because he gives, at the beginning especially, a very comprehensive overview of what deep state really is. And I've never listened to the full extent, even though when listening to it, I was able to understand that the bits and pieces have been out for a long time. But he said something really powerful at the end, and he talked about how we're in a government, in a post-constitutional government. And what really struck me is that as much as we run around trying to create regime change out in the world, America's already had a regime change. And, I don't normally like to stick my feet into politics too much. I've tried a little bit. I have a lot of opinions. But, my take, and this isn't for most people, this is a very unpopular take on politics, but my take is politics are always a reflection of our own inner psyche at a group level. And so when you're listening to this conversation about deep state, it really is a big version of our own shadow self. The CIA is very similar to the ego trying to stranglehold the dark shadow part of ourself. And so while it's not a complete linear one-for-one reflection, it's a really good example about why these macro things happen as a reflection of who we are in the micro. And so this whole idea of World War III, as much as, like you, I've got my, fingers crossed, trying to be peaceful, even though the atmosphere feels very uncomfortable. So time will tell which version of this world that we enter into next, but that it's never more important when the world is talking war and there's so much instability than to really understand how to focus your own peaceful state, because you're either adding to the instability, the doubt, and the uncertainty, or you're taking away from that. And so that's our choice, that's our power, that's what we're here for, to decide which version we want to contribute to. It's not a guarantee of what life will look like, but it is really the power that we have as the individual within the whole. I had a aha. I'm putting this way at the end of the video because I will probably be the only one watching it. But I had a big aha about some of my struggles with being out in the world, and why there's a few of you who are really awesome, but most people don't connect to the messages that I try to share. And the aha is that, you know, I've been talking a long time about values as the way we make decisions versus beliefs and emotions. And most people really make decisions very emotionally. I think we just saw that happen recently. But the question of values is a very complicated, deep, personal one, and how most people don't care. They really are focused on their comfort and safety, and that this idea of shared values or deeper values is the higher path, which is really the whole point I'm trying to make with this life after 50 idea. I just learned some more facts that will put your hair on fire. I'm not going to share them here today because of all we've talked about, but I just wanted to throw that out there, that this idea of values is so important in terms of what we're seeing happen in the world right now. And it's getting worse because just like the deep state, just like the darkness in ourselves, we can't move forward till we're willing. We can't move forward till we're willing to look at what's really going on in all the places that we don't want to see. And that's not just true about us, it's true about our world. I'm going to say thank you for sharing this time with me. Don't forget to find all the links over at jillelizabeth.net on the blog page. And have a lovely Easter. We'll see you next week.